Hey YouTube, this is Purple One. Welcome to Boots on the Ground and news you should know. We have a lot, a lot of first-hand accounts written in from viewers just like you. So let's get right into it. John Deere, major layoffs. They're going to be closing some factories in Iowa and Illinois. Also, be about 4,000 employees that could face layoffs. They basically were told they're going to try to optimize its operations. Basically, they're not making money because people aren't buying farm equipment. So, a major loss of employment there. 5 police officers, and this is in Mexico, were ambushed. This is not the only attack on police. We have a war between the cartel and law enforcement and the government. So, they had another attack, and this was with IEDs. It was roadside bombs, and it wounded 14 people, damaged 4 vehicles. So some civilians were caught in the crossfire with IEDs. So if you travel to Mexico, make sure you know where you're going. Procter & Gamble, they're going to cut 7,000 jobs, and they call it a challenging environment. I would call it a recession. But these are makers of Bounty paper towels, Dawn dish soap, Pampers, Tide, Gillette, razors, and 7,000 people are going to lose their jobs. Let's get right into the reports from you, the viewers. Greetings from the Smokies of North Carolina. For 3 months, our weekends from Thursday to Friday night through Sunday had loads of traffic. But now in the last 10 days, it seems like this has tapered off. Businesses are actively trying to recruit people to come stay at their rentals. And they're saying that Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forest, they're down considerable, and a lot of hotels and motels definitely have empty parking lots. So this sort of really backs up a story I just read this morning about certain areas of the country that are not having the same people visit their bread and breakfasts, their rentals. So definitely we see a big slowdown. This person also that lives in the Smokies of North Carolina, I'm retired and doing well with a good garden is flourishing. I have a freezer full of side of beef and chickens and eggs from a local farmer. Will this status remain? Because we got rising health cares, insurance, and taxes. This is from Boise, Idaho. Basically, I'm the assistant manager at a large hardware store that I work at. We compete with larger hardware stores, but we are locally owned. We have a warehouse with lumber, sheetrock, strong ties, and everything else you need to fix a home or build a home. Normally, we deploy prices updates, the little tags with the prices underneath each item on their shelves once a week. But starting with the Tariff War, we're now deploying new price updates 3 times a week. Some prices went up more than others. For instance, everything that comes from China or Mexico, most of our stuff definitely went up, even small items, $1. But anything made with metal, aluminum mostly, went up 10 to 20%. In other words, if an aluminum ladder from Mexico cost $50, now it's about $65 to $70. Also, if it has any electronic parts, it's gone up about 20%. Also, lumber and all forms, sheetrock, and paper products are now going up in price because they're locally sourced or from Canada. They also said the big green eggs, they went up about 20 to 30% because they come from Canada. They also said employee hours, so the business has actually cut people's work hours. 30 minutes, you're starting 30 minutes later, so everyone's been cut that. I'm hearing more and more about that. People's hours are being cut, so the businesses, no matter what it is, can save money. They also said there's a huge problem in Boise with the homeless population, maxing out the homeless shelters, people sleeping wherever they can sleep, in the parks, on the benches, anywhere. This person said, I hardly ever hear you talk about ladies' feminine hygiene products. And I have talked about those in the past. They're just saying you better stock up on all those items. Reiterate that. Yes, if your wife needs those, your daughter needs them, make sure they have plenty of those put back. Also, you probably heard about the bioterrorism super fungus that was smuggled in. Some Chinese people tried to, I guess they were going to infect the wheat in Michigan. That would be terrible news. But we are in war. We are at war with many countries. It is not an open warfare, but everything behind the scenes is happening. This person said, I've gotten firsthand account that Boeing is going to outsource U.S. IT infrastructure operations to a company which is based from China, or based from India. This is serious because sometimes Boeing has to deal with classified U.S. military projects. So who is actually going to be looking at all this information? Gas prices in Memphis area is around $2.49 a gallon. We're having an unseasonably cool summer so far. Lots of rain. Rained so much that my taters rotted in the ground from being wet. This person said, I moved to Tennessee from Florida 16 months ago. I regularly mail the grand packages for holidays and birthdays. The three United States Postal Service workers recognized me as a regular shipper and gave me a heads up on Wednesday. That was last Wednesday. They just received notice that postage will be rising 5 cents for each first class postage during the month of June. They didn't have an exact date other than by July 1st. This person said they had a business call. On this call this morning, we learned 800 managers are being let go and major tech layoffs is next. And this has to do with AT&T. If you work for AT&T, you better have your ducks in a row. Get out of debt. Next person said, finally, a price drop from $5.99 to almost $3. I think that was dealing with the eggs. They said the hamburger meat is still $5 a pound pretty much everywhere. And that's in Washington State. This person is a licensed electrician, age 64. The company I work for employs about 35 men in the field. 6 of us work in service. The remainder do construction of new buildings or major renovations. We can't find people who want to learn a trade. And truly experienced, skilled tradesmen like me are rarer than hen's teeth. That doesn't get reflected in my wages, though. Closer to DC, one can get over $30 per hour, but here I can't. They say residential work has not been good for us, so we operate in the county and state government sphere, like building schools, firehouses, DMV, maintenance facilities, etc. My wife is a master gardener and works the perennial section of a large nursery nearby. This year's sales are better than last year, but management claims money is tight and no bonuses will be given this year. Around us, construction is active. Hospitals, warehouse, shipping hubs, Lego factory, warehouses, large residential complexes. But notice there are few jobs with this kind of development. It seems as if companies are repositioning themselves while they can, knowing that inflation will increase. They don't view wage growth or bonuses as cost effective, I guess. Yeah, everyone's cutting back on bonuses, that's for sure. In summary, we're scratching our head and wondering what is going on, just like you are. This person, I'm from mid-Ohio, about 30 minutes south of the lakes. My wife and I have no kids and live a modest lifestyle. Me and my small group of friends have all been spending. The purchases have all been with cash. Things are pretty normal around here, more expensive, but everyone I know is doing fine and seems to be keeping bills paid. Yeah, if you're retired on a good income, you definitely have it much better than most people. This person says, I live in Fayetteville, Georgia, and work in the catering delivery. A huge data center is in construction, and I deliver it to it almost daily. What bothers me is no one speaks English around here, so there must be a huge influx, probably of Spanish-speaking people, but they didn't say that. This is a good one I work for Costco at a warehouse in the Midwest. Like many retailers, Costco overstocks merch knowing that the tariffs were coming, so they ordered a lot more, so their warehouses were full. As the items sell out with no replacement orders, the plan is to compensate with more food and clothing items. Seasonal items that we receive every year, such as Halloween costumes, Christmas stuff, etc., are going to be missing or very slim. In all honesty, the warehouse I work at has a huge decrease in spending on non-essential items the past couple of years. Because we're getting new items, however, is allowed for great bargains on older, out-of-season items. Prices are mostly going up, but dairy and eggs have come down. Costco recently started a buy now, pay later option for purchases of $500, which isn't hard to spend at Costco. Laugh out loud. Yes, you go to Costco, you're going to spend some money. At my warehouse level, we are not well staffed and spread very thin. Morale among my coworkers is low. It has been since COVID. People just went feral and became selfish shoppers. Costco is a DEI poster child, 1,000% going out of its way to hire or promote diversity picks. Costco also hires non-citizens. I have been employed with this company for 14 years. It didn't used to be this bad. I still appreciate the job as it pays well with great benefits. It's just becoming a harder pill to swallow. This person, I'm a pilot car for oversized loads, so they either drive in front or behind an oversized load. I live north of Houston, Texas. January 1st to the middle of May, I was so busy. It has suddenly slowed down. Probably because people are not spending money. Even though I've been very busy before this, I'm not making more. I still earn the same per mile fee from 3 years ago, but of course, everything has gone up. 3 years ago, making the same amount of money, unbelievable. A friend just told me yesterday, this is a new person, a friend just told me yesterday she bought 2 cords of wood for this coming winter. She purchases wood close every year to reduce their dependency on the electric. A cord of wood in our area here in northeastern North Carolina has cost us normally $145 to $170 in the past. So $145 to $170. She paid, the new price was $250 for the cord of wood. That's incredible. Things are just going up, up, and up. This person has a federal firearms license. They're a gun dealer. He's saying that he's hearing more and more of small mom and pop federal firearms license, small gun shops, anywhere in the country, going out of business. He sells to these gun shops, so he's in a weird position in the industry. He's, I guess, like a middleman. But he says sales have dropped in the past year 70%. It has gotten so bad where I'm probably about to lose my home and my business too. In the process of now filing bankruptcy to sum that up. For what I can put together on top of the summer slump that happens every year, even my local gun shop has a summer slump usually. People are going on vacation. They're not going and buying deer rifles, not buying stuff, spending money on travel and summer stuff. You got to add the summer slump, then add the Trump slump, they're calling it. That's on top of it. I guess people feel secure, so they're not going out and buying a lot of stuff in the sense of self-defense equipment. He says, remind people to use their small local shops as much as they can because it will probably keep them in business. This person, my wife and I are 70 years old and retired in Minnesota. We live in a luxury senior apartment complex. Rent has only increased average of about 1% a year for the last 12 years. All utilities, electric, heat, garbage, internet, water, etc. We have about $500,000 in savings, less than 5% of that in the stock market. Most of us seniors are really good at bitching about prices. Most complaining is about the food costs here. We ate hot dogs and egg sandwiches for month on end in our younger years to get by. If we have to, we can revert back to that. He also says, our number one concern is our children and greater grandchildren know Jesus. Prayers are starting to work here. They are truly hungry spiritually, but they are the Google generation and they can fact check everything. We are both Lutheran our whole life, but quit that church when it was apparent it was all about the money. We now lean Pentecostal. We have invested heavily in stocks for food, water filtration, and power generation, etc. Next person say, I deliver gas and diesel fuel. Been busy as heck. Might be tight, but people are still buying the heck out of fuel. The last person says, I'm a veteran that lives in Daytona. We are slowing down at their place where they work. They work on custom things for trucks, city, state, etc. Also talk to ABF Freight. They are super slow. Also got a friend whose nephew is getting deployed to Iraq. He said, prices going up here also. So there you go. I share these because these are what people are feeling, people are going through. I know you're going through the same thing. So if you have anything to add, please send it to Southern Prepper1 bootsontheground@yahoo.com. It helps me understand what's going out there, and I know it helps you. I get a lot of people saying, hey, we love Boots on the Ground. Boots on the Ground is only possible if you contribute. So don't think, oh, that's just a little fact. It's not important. Send it to me. You take all these little pieces and put them together, and then I can share them with you, and we can figure out what is going on in this country. Maybe get you better prepared for what is coming. Thanks for watching.